Welcome back to another episode of a Hero's Journey podcast. This is part 2 with my boy Toryn Green. I want to shout out to the sponsors, though, real quick. SMP Inc. Let them rebuild your confidence. JPS Computers out of Oregon. HeroesJourneyPodcast.com. ElvisMonroe.com. All that and our social media is ran by JPS Computers. Thank you, Jesse. Bro, come visit me. You're in Vegas right now. And a shout out to my newest sponsor, 1-844 Ride or Die Legal. If you're in a motorcycle accident, if you just get a ticket or whatever, reach out 1-844 Ride or Die Legal and let them help you. So thank you, dude. Dave, you're awesome. So I want to get right into this. This is part 2. This guy's like a brother to me. We've been through a lot. I've had the chance to watch him play on the biggest stages. We supported each other. We were roommates for, I want to say, like 8 years at least. Yeah. So we're going to get right into this. I got Toryn Green, former lead singer of the band Fuel, Something to Burn, For the Taking, Emphatic, Apocalyptica, your solo stuff. But what I want to get into was, this is crazy.
Rock Band Manor.
Rock Band. Let's get into Rock Band Manor. That's how we do part 2.
I knew he was going to talk about Rock Band Manor.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. So like your girl's in the next room and she has to hear all this over again.
Yeah,
but
sorry.
There was nothing about what this is what happened, dude. Okay, so I got to introduce who else is in the room right now. Austin, your boy, your son.
This is my son,
Austin McLaughlin, right?
Look at that handsome guy right there.
Yeah. So I'm going to tell you this story because this is funny. This is a little behind the scenes with me and your pops. We were roommates for a long time, but you can say hi in the mic. Say hi to everybody.
Howdy.
Yeah, so Austin's an actual hero. Yeah, he's 6 years in the military. Yeah. He just got out, and I want to thank you so much. We had a bonding moment last night with all this music going on, and you looked at my bracelet, and there was just there goes a hair on my arms again. There was a moment of respect, and this is me honoring a Marine, a fallen Marine, and his name is Ty Hart, and I wear this all the time. And you stood up, asked me about it, looked at me, and we had a moment. We bonded, and that was like something that I can't explain it. That's just, there was an understanding, and for your fallen brother who you never even knew, and you had a moment, and I saw the look in your eye. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for your service. Yes, thank you for what you do, and I know your pops is really proud of you. And you're a spitting image of him. And you look like the version of your pops if you had blonde, spiky hair and no mustache that I'd be like, yo, Toryn,
hey man,
what's up?
I could grow a good porn stash.
Yeah, you know, when he entered the room, I was wanting the bounce music to kick in when you entered the room. But so anyway, here's this story. Your pops and I were in San Diego, and we went to see a Lifehouse show, and my bandmate Ben Carey is from the band Lifehouse, and our buddy Bryce and Jason Wade and everybody. So it was really inspiring. Like, they did this acoustic show at the House of Blues. It was a smaller, intimate show. So we drove out there to do that, and I remember we were backstage in this big area. There was quite a few people back there. And one of the radio station girls, I don't remember her name, but she was from, you remember her name?
No.
So anyways, the DJ, we had to get back to Rock Band Manor. That's what we called our place.
Yeah, that's right.
And she looks at us and goes, what's so special about Rock Band Manor? And she's the DJ at the radio station. And we looked at each other in front, and we're used to being on stage in front of people, but not like this in the moment. Right. And we went off. I was like, well, you know, tomorrow's Monday. Yeah, it's Motorboat Monday.
Motorboat Monday.
At Rock Band Manor, and he looks at everyone. Everyone's laughing. And then he goes, oh, yeah, Tuesday. It's Titty Tuesday.
Tuesday.
And now they're just going. And I'm like, oh shit, what's Wednesday? And what was Wednesday?
Like whatever Wednesday.
Whatever Wednesday.
Yeah.
And these are there's a sign on the door when you walk in. This is the rules when you walk into Rockman Manor. And then it was Threesome Thursday. And Fuck 'em Friday, and Suck 'em Saturday, and then we're like, "There's a day of rest on Sunday." It's just what was it? Something,
yeah.
Whatever.
It was a big poster. It was
we made it into a poster after that. So we're driving home, laughing our asses off, like we were, like
we should do this.
we were in a fraternity or something. We're like, it was like that was stupid, right? But it was so funny that we went and printed it out. His dad goes and makes us this metal frame along with our TG and BH in our place right when you walked in. Oh no, it was Twister. It was Twister Tuesday. And I said, oh, Twister Tuesday.
Baby oil.
It's a baby oil and Twisters, Naked Twister. That's Tuesday. Because what we did is we had this area. There was our sign. And we had Twister and baby oil sitting there below the sign. It was awesome.
I can't even tell you how many people came through that door and was like, what day is it?
Yeah. I can't be here right now. And
I'll see you guys tomorrow.
But it was funny because it was just one of those little jokes, and we thought it was great, and everybody out there's like already tuned out. They stopped listening. But so I want to get to the serious side of things. So in that time that we lived in Rock Band Manor, you go and decide that I'm going to go back to school, right? The Fuel days, and I remember you coming home, and this was wild because he's like, "Do you know who the biggest rock stars are out on when we're out on the road?" It's a doctor standing behind they're backstage, and they've got the boats, and they had, he's like, these are the biggest rock stars. I'm up there doing the show, and these guys are taking us to all these places, and we're going to need to go out on yachts and whatever. And he's like, I've always wanted to be a doctor. So how'd that play out?
So, again, it was like something that I had like in high school, like kind of these thoughts, but I had this aptitude for singing. So I did that first, and then I was like, and I got to a point where I was like, if I'm ever going to do this, I got to do it. I got to just like bite the bullet, kind of step away from touring, step away from recording, and just kind of, just go back to school. So I ended up, we were living in the Valley in Los Angeles, and I ended up just going down to like Pierce College, I think it was, and and then just signing up for some classes, and I just did like the full-time thing, and I was like, I hadn't been in school for so long that I was actually like really like dedicated, like focused on it, right? So I did like 4.0 for like the first like a couple of years. I was like, oh, I'm just gonna rock through this, and then obviously things, when I got into my like science degree and stuff, things got a bit tougher, but I would like go to my like through the whole semester, and I would like plan my tour, and then I would actually like I was like double dipping here, so I would line up like 10 shows across the Midwest, and I would basically do like my final exam, and then I would head right to the airport to like immediately that day to go and play these shows. So I would try to squeeze them in wherever I could, and it got to a point where I just once I got out of college and got my degree, and I got into medical school, like there was no time really to do anything. Like, it was really hard to tour anymore after that. So, that there's still plans in the works, now that residency's happening and everything, but it was,
we got hit with that the other night. We were hanging out together. You jump up on stage, and Coach Kern out of Alaska goes, I want to bring the both of you to Alaska together. And we looked at each other and went, yeah. And Carolina was like, not during, and we're like, yeah, you're right. Because you reel it in, bro. Yeah. Like, it gets pretty serious.
Now there's like a big commitment. Like, you have to like let them know like what times you want to be away from the residency, and you got to like plan that stuff like months in advance,
Yeah.
And I've got like, Sam, who's like the dad of my guitar player in New York. He's always hitting me up, hey, the guys want to come do these shows and these shows. And I'm like, man, I would really love to do that. I can't like squeeze that in with this time. And it's just really, really hard to make that happen. So, but there are plans for future, like for the Taking shows. Basically, the guys are going to come, and we're going to do more like Toryn Green, like solo stuff as well. And with those shows, we do like Fuel songs. We do like kind of things from all the different bands and stuff I was in through the years. And we also do like some cover stuff that people love. So all that stuff is kind of in the works. But it's like, it's always got to take the seat to when the medicine part will allow it.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like, I don't know how you pull that stuff off. On the way over here, we were getting off the freeway, and I was joking because you've kept me out. Your dad has kept me out like every night this week. He came into town to visit. I'm not going to bed until 5 o'clock. You know, it's.
I'm not as old as I look right now, man. I'm pulling like various little sleep right now, but hey,
bro, and it's been insane. But on the way over here, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna, we're gonna talk about stuff. I want to talk about the Fuel Days, and I want to talk about this new adventure. We all wake up the hero of our own story. What are we gonna do with it? Yeah. Your son decided to, go into the military. You're in what the Air Force. Yes. That's right, in the Air Force. You can talk. It's okay. Don't be shy. What did you do in the Air Force?
I was MP, basically.
Yeah? Mm-hmm. An MP, for those out there, is basically like a police officer,
military
right?
Police, yeah.
Okay, very cool. And you liked it? You liked what you did?
Loved the job, yeah. There were certain aspects, people-wise that you had to deal with.
That's every job. That's
is,
everywhere.
That is.
It's anywhere, everywhere you go.
The demographics of it, the ins and outs of people's attitudes and whatnot. But I did love the job. Miss it every day. But.
Yeah.
But that wasn't the original direction, right? Like you actually thought about doing like the medical thing,
That's right. Yeah. No. I always wanted to be in the medical field, and so I wanted to do pararescue. So PJs for the Air Force.
Oh, that's a badass job.
It's hella badass.
Yeah.
But the training for that's pretty rigorous. They do pretty much everything that SEALs do and whatnot. Yep. It's about 2 years, and you go through the pipeline and all that. But I ended up becoming a cop, and I washed out. I drowned. So that was fun. But here we are, alive, kicking, and well.
You got a message, I
do.
So, yeah.
That's awesome.
And then he was like deployed, right? Yeah,
How many times?
Overseas.
2 times.
Yeah. Thank you again.
Yeah, no problem.
No, for real. Thank you.
He still won't talk about some of the stuff.
I know, and that's okay. And
this is my first podcast. I'm sorry.
Hey, listen, you're totally fine, and I just love the pride that your dad has for you. And he's like, hey, do you think Austin can jump on and join us? I'm like, of course. And like I said, we had that moment last night, and this will live on forever. This right now, what we're sitting here just having a conversation, like as if we were having Starbucks down the street.
Absolutely.
That's it. That's what's going on. And I'm not trying to pull you out of your comfort zone.
But every now and again, something will come out. Like I'll be like, okay, hey, last week, I was talking to you about this motorcycle accident. I'm like, we had this guy in, things didn't go well. He was hit by, another vehicle, and he basically came in. We cracked his chest, and long story short, he didn't make it. And as we're having this conversation, Dawson's like, I've seen that.
Really?
He'll have these things will kind of pop out, because like wartime stuff,
Yeah. Well, and is that the same guy that you had to reach in and massage his heart?
So yeah, typically when you go in, that guy didn't make it. Yeah, and it was not. I think there was a lot of things at play at that. His wife ended up doing okay, I think, but. It's just these kind of things happen all the time, and if it's not a motor vehicle accident, it's like a gunshot wound, or if it's not a gunshot wound, it's somebody getting gored by a bull. And and the thing is, these things are kind of like the more rare things that happen with emergency medicine, which is kind of the field that I went into. But there are also like the times where it's people will use the emergency department as like their primary care, right? So we'll have like 100 cases where people come in and I got some random chest pains and things like that, and so it's a lot of that, But every now and again things get really exciting, so.
But it's wild because it's like an episode of Grey's Anatomy where, you hear those sirens and you're running for it, but you want to help. Mm-hmm. You're wanting to help, but it's that, you sat there, you're telling me this story at the bar, mm-hmm. where you cracked this person open, reached in and massaged his heart. What was that called?
So the procedure is called a thoracotomy. Yeah. We don't really get to see too many of them during residency, but there are a few that happen. And it's typically the trauma guys that are actually doing like a lot of that work, and then we're kind of there like doing like making sure the airways at Peyton and everything, making sure that the lines are where they should be. Like we're kind of filling the room, and like as soon as like a trauma comes in, there'll be like 100 people like float into a room, and it's just like a lot of chaos for like during that whole time. But again, it's like we all, come, like, I didn't even know I wanted to be, like, emergency medicine when I went into medical school. Like, I thought I wanted to be a surgeon, honestly. Like all through college and everything, I'm like, I like to do procedures. I like to work with my hands. I like to.
You can draw. You're really good at art. Yeah. So I thought you were going to be a plastic surgeon.
That honestly, that was kind of on the thing. I'm
I thought
I'm living in LA.
Set. I'm like, I am set for life. My brother's going to be a plastic surgeon. I'm going to be 40 for my whole life.
You need a boob job. He's got you.
Yeah, dude. I really do. I'm born without a left chest muscle, so I was waiting for that.
Bring that ball sack right back up to where it should be.
Hey.
No,
It's supposed to hang to the left.
Yeah. No, actually, that was like, and then I got into like med school, and I was like, oh, this surgery, like whole thing, all of it, it was very toxic to me. And I'm like, I don't want to be like in this environment with these people that just kind of walk around, just like, don't get me wrong, surgeons have their place. It's just like, for me, like I'm an adventure kind of guy. I like to get out and do things. I like to have a life outside of the hospital. But I also want to do procedures, and I also want to have like a big role in these people's lives. And then when they're coming into the emergency department, it's like they're coming in because that's when they need you the most, and if you can make a difference, that's where you're going to make it, and that's, I gravitated right towards it when I saw that in medical school. So that's, and I was kind of talking to him about this today, and I think that, I could see the ideas, these things, So.
Well, your pops has shown you that it's never too late. Like, and that's what's great about this is we're sitting here talking about 2 lives. Mm-hmm. You lived more than that because, we came into this, and coming from Alaska of all places, it's small town. And I tell this, I did a high school tour where I talk about in Alaska. I did one of the high school tours, and I talk about you can be anywhere in the world and you can go after your dreams. As long as you can imagine it and you can put in the work, you can make it happen. And in 2012, you're on the biggest stages getting to play around the world. Mm-hmm. And you make a decision that this is what I want to do, and I'm going to pivot. Do literally a 180.
It was so hard though, because like I was used to having this like sort of lifestyle, and then you go into like med school. Or actually, let me just start with college. You go into college, and me starting college at like 36. I'm like looking around and like looking a little different than my fellow colleagues, and that kind of changed as it kind of went through. But even in med school, I was still kind of like older in there, and in residency, I'm still like an older resident. Once I become like an attending, then I'll kind of blend right in. But I was always that kind of like, because I took that step a little bit later because I had this whole other thing going on before.
Yeah.
But I don't regret it. I was telling him today, like I feel like I needed to do that. I needed to have that experience because I feel like I understand people a little bit better. Like I've had a lot more interactions that a lot of students who kind of went straight through don't have.
Uh-huh.
And I've been very lucky. Like Carolina, my girlfriend now, I met her in med school, and we kind of bounce stuff off. She'll come home from the shift and kind of talk about all the tough things that she's gone through, and it's like we can bounce these kind of things off each other. And I think it's good to have like that support system.
That's amazing. And I heard she was the one who did a Thor. What was that called?
What do you say? Wasn't that like a Marvel hero?
Yeah, no. What's it called? A Thoracotomy?
Hey, Thor, isn't that the guy from the Avengers?
Yeah, exactly. Because I said I got to name my album that. And it's literally like reaching in and massaging the heart, and that's what music does.
She did thoracotomy before.
Thoracotomy, and I need you to text that to me, and I'm gonna, I'll title the album a thoracotomy.
Just grabs your heart.
Exactly. Choo. And she did that first. But what's wild? She was sitting in the car in the back seat, and I was talking about I wrote a children's book, and how a friend of mine, she was reading it and she's sending me notes because she's read about 1,000 children's books. And I didn't know, I wasn't asking for her opinion or even to do that, but it's my friend Megan Ruger, who's from The Voice.
Yeah.
She's a badass singer. She's a rock star. Megan, I just put her on the radio. I took over a radio station, K-Hits 107.1 out of Alaska, Wasilla, and I played all this music, and she was one of them. But she took the time and stayed up all night before driving to Nashville today, and was like changing up little things and she's like, I hope you like it. And I'm like, I didn't ask her to do that, right? She wanted to read it. And Carolina was like, the fact that she took the time and that she's read all those books, that's amazing. And I'm thinking, oh, you're right. And it goes back to what you just said, bouncing ideas and going back and forth and learning from other people. These things are important. It's important to take from from experiences, and you're walking into medical school. You're a resident now, but you have all this life history, and it's got to be wild for some of your peers to be like, oh, wait a minute, I think I saw you in concert in Miami or in wherever you were in the Bay. You know, like those kinds of things. They probably help you get through some doors a little quicker sometimes too.
Yeah, honestly, like when it came to like the residency interviews and stuff like that, and you're like meeting these people, it does bring up a conversation point like that people kind of want to gravitate to, you know. And it's weird because like people sometimes will not know. Like eventually, like when I was like going through different rotations in med school, like I would be, I don't know how this would happen, but I would start the rotation and I'd be like the old guy who's like going through the rotation and everybody's just kind of treating a certain way. And then all of a sudden overnight, everybody would start treating me differently. And I would be like, what's going on? And like everyone, like, and then it would be like known that the nurses and that team had kind of started spreading around, found out about the history and all. And it was just so weird though, that how your history can define like how people treat you, you know?
Well, it's true. Like, I mean, come on, Austin, you're like 27, right?
Yes, sir.
You walk into a room. You know, I'm like a 27-year-old, but you have 6 years of military experience that I don't have a clue what you did, what you went through. You barely had a life. You barely old enough to drink, and yet you went and put your life on the line for our country, and for me to sit here and act a fool behind the mic and talk about Rock Band Manor with your dad and whatever, and be stupid, but also, you know, you can judge somebody just by the way they look. I mean, 100%. You don't know that Chase behind there is an opera singer. This dude has, in this time, Chase is a well-known opera singer. He's went around the world now, and he's my producer, Chase. And so those things you wouldn't know coming out of. So I mean, you're like 5'8". How tall are you?
5'10". Thank you very much.
Sorry, 5'10".
So
5'10". He's got this voice.
What you're saying is, I'm going to see you tonight at this karaoke place at the barbershop tonight. This full band karaoke thing. Is that what you're?
I might be able to swing that.
Okay.
I might be able to swing that.
Okay. Because I'm all about hearing this voice.
Well, you know, I'll swing some Cash for karaoke. But
there we go. There you go, Johnny Cash, huh?
Oh yeah, that's my go-to.
There you go. I love it. So anyway, so. You know, you're going through and we judge people all the time. Like your first.
If I may insert real quick.
Yes, please.
It's humbling individually to have done that, right, for 6 years. And at one point, you know, I served with Secret Service and whatnot, and was within 500 feet of the president, you know, weekly and whatnot. But I'm currently working in an auto shop, you know, changing oil, not doing anything crazy with my life, but people come in and treat you a certain way based off of your appearance.
Yes.
And it's like, damn, if you only knew. But I'm not here to be like, I'm not ever going to be like, show me some respect.
Yeah.
It's just one of those humbling things that's always like,
you know where you've been, you know, like, yeah.
Absolutely. That's a clip right there. Because that's, honestly, that means I understand, you know, you don't know what I've been through. You don't know what I've done. You don't know.
It's a reminder.
Exactly.
To viewing anybody, you know, just random Joe Schmo at Walmart. There's this guy that comes in. His name is Mike. I'm not going to say the last name for certain purposes, right? But very well-off dude. He comes into work, millionaire. Yeah. Would never know it. And you guys were talking about Shelby in the car this morning. And he brings in his cars, and he's got, you know, this 64 Galaxy, a 1967, basically Eleanor, Shelby GT500 Fastback, dream car, right? Doesn't care, just showing off like his cars to us. But you would never know. He dresses in a basic T-shirt, shorts, and it's a great reminder to know what you're projecting persona-wise, you know.
And what Austin is not projecting is the fact that he's also a musician.
Are you?
He is.
I can sing only because it was gifted to me through this guy. But I don't sing for people specifically. My girl maybe, but
Does your bottom lip go sideways when you sing? I'm just curious.
Because we definitely do that.
if I'm singing a country song, maybe. But
Elvis's lip went up, when he is singing, and your dad's goes down. His right.
I pull a Stallone.
Yeah, when he sings, I would always like watch his lip. I'm like, how's he getting that sound coming out? And his lip goes side. Is that how he does that?
It's a little trick I learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Slice told me that.
You guys pull to the side, bro.
Yo, Adrian. So what's next? Like right now, you're a resident. I wish I should have grabbed Carolina. If you're in there, get your butt in here and jump on this mic.
Oh, there's another doctor in the house.
I want to know what's next for you guys. This is you got 3 years left in your residency, and again, if you're out there, you just tuned in. This is Toryn Green and Austin, his son. You're military or former military now, but always a military man. And you were the lead singer of Fuel, who is now an emergency doctor. Like, talk about that. You are the guy who you're rolling in an ambulance, gets somebody right off the road or in an accident or out of a fire or whatever it is, and they're going straight to you at the emergency room.
They are. They come to us.
And you're the guy grabbing them, pulling them, and keeping them alive.
Yep. I'm one of a team of amazing people, and there's like an attending physician over me. Like, I'm a resident, like one of many residents. There's like a big nursing team. There's a trauma team. They all kind of work.
Come on in.
They all kind of work, in harmony to make sure that when people need medical attention, when they need us the most, we're there for them, And we have a very strict protocol that we follow, and it's amazing. We do some really great things, and it's a good feeling when you go home each day.
That's amazing. And I was listening. I just wanted to get Carolina set up here.
Let's do it.
Who's also a musician.
Woohoo!
She's also
there we go. So give us your last name, full name, everything.
Carolina Marquez.
Carolina Marquez. You're Brazilian. Is that correct?
Yeah.
There we go.
That's right.
And you are also a doctor.
Yep.
This is amazing.
Yep.
Like, I had to pull you in. I'm like, I had to ask you to,
Sure.
I should have asked you a long time ago.
Yeah.
But what's that like? I mean, your journey. Give us in a few minutes how you became a doctor.
Wow. So it is a long journey, I suppose. I'll try to summarize it. So I came to the U.S. when I was 12.
Okay.
Just a typical immigrant life, like we were talking this morning too. And originally, my dad went to New York. I saw the Twin Towers fall from my school. We moved out to Connecticut, and we were there for 13 years. And I just went to college. I went to UConn, University of Connecticut. And I decided to do psychology and neuroscience. And I was not looking into the medical field at all. And I went into getting in my MBA. I got my MBA in healthcare administration. And halfway through that, my dad actually had an accident. And he fell out of, he was paragliding, and his paraglider just kind of fell on himself, and he just dropped. And he was hospitalized for 2 months. And that's when I went into med school.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the moment you decided,
Yep.
I'm going to be a doctor.
Yep. I'm gonna
See, we all have these things. We all have these moments that it just kind of chooses us.
Right.
And I just so happened to be with Toryn and be around him when he made that decision. We were roommates.
Mm-hmm.
So now you guys met in school. Is that correct?
Yeah, I met in med school.
Yep. And the funny thing is, it was weird because between studies, there was this little side bar next to the campus that they would have people singing little musical acts and stuff. And I was just in there just having fun on a mic one night. And
No.
we sort of we believe it or not, man. And so and so we kind of she heard the singing, the voice, and we kind of started talking about that, and we became
And then I started doing harmonies. I'm like,
Yeah.
I can do this. I usually do harmonies. You know
Oh,
what?
yeah?
I'll be a back vocal.
And then there was a school, a med school talent show. I shit you not. And they actually had like, you know, anybody could come sign up or whatever. So
Right.
we're like, hey, let's start playing some music. So she played some keyboards and some singing. I got another like student, like colleague that was playing drums, and we formed like a little like med school like band,
Pearson's Allantosis.
Yeah, it was which is a total medical thing. Yeah. Anyway, but it was like we ended up playing and having a good time in front of like the auditorium and all the other med students. And
Oh, how cool.
yeah, it was kind of a cool way to sort of blend like things a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
And then COVID happened like after we got off, you know,
Okay.
out of our campus. And then we ended up doing our 3rd and 4th year of training in Michigan, at this place called Ascension Providence. So we were kind of bouncing back and forth, and we were like, when COVID was like kind of in full swing, we were out there like swabbing people, like, you know, doing all this stuff. There was like a lineup. People would be in their cars and they wouldn't get out of their cars, and we were just like nasal swabbing people coming through, like, and they had us like in these hazmat suits, and it was nuts, man.
It's like out of a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were going through all when COVID was like
Yeah,
really like
I remember.
You know, a bad thing. And then you know, after that was all said and done, you know, we made these great connections in Michigan, and that's when when residency kind of opened the doors. It was like we decided to head back there and
Through flying too.
And flying, as well. Yeah.
We
became a
also
pilot.
started becoming pilots during med school. So that
Really?
was-
You're
yeah.
both pilots?
Yeah.
What the hell? Yeah, I forgot about that. I left that part out.
Yeah,
that
you
you're a
know.
pilot.
Yeah, you
Very-
became a
you would-
pilot during med
You
school.
would send me dude, Chase, he would send me like his drone shots, and then drone turned into, I'm gonna be a pilot. I'm gonna go up there and do this stuff myself.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
both pilots.
We bought a plane.
Yeah.
That's amazing, and that's
But this is
Woo!
this is the weird thing though. Like, see, everybody who becomes a pilot, they love the flying part, but they hate like learning the rules and regulations and stuff like that.
Okay.
So what I would do is I had these major like med school exams like that I was preparing for. But whenever I would I'd get so mentally like drained, I'd be like, I need to take a break. But instead of like going and like doing something else, I would go and study like my flight regs and stuff like that, because that was actually like really like fun and appealing to me. So I got that out of the way as a break to the med school training.
Wow.
So it actually.
So because I got to wrap this up, and I this sucks, but I want to ask you, and I'm sorry to cut you off, you guys, because this is amazing. You dropped the pilot thing on me. I totally forgot. You know, like
Yeah.
and this guy, like Chase, when I talk about riding safely all the time, how many times do I reach out to you and I'm like, are you riding safely? Are you, do you get enough rest? I do that to you, don't I?
Like twice a day, you know?
Yeah. So this guy was a guy that when we were young does a wheelie going through an intersection and hits a semi truck, and then that's all he remembers. He wakes up and he should have been dead, but he was wearing all the right gear, doing all the wrong things, all the things I tell you not to do, because I love you and I want to make sure everybody's good. So, but anyway, I want to get to real quick, because you are an you're in emergency medicine, just like Toryn. You did a thoracotomy before he did.
Correct.
Did that person live?
No. They usually don't, and
Really?
that is
Yeah.
unfortunately.
When they get to that
that's
point,
the last
it's
resort.
the last resort. Yeah.
Oh,
Because
And
we're doing
this-
like all the CPR and everything before.
So my story was a little bit different, obviously, different patient, but this guy was 15. Yeah, my guy was 15. And he was just, unfortunately, he got shot. He got shot in the chest, and there was, the bullet went through his heart and opened a hole, and that's why we had to open in order to repair the whole bullet wound.
Yeah.
But he didn't make it.
I'm sorry.
Unfortunately. Yeah. We unfortunately, through emergency medicine, we kind of appreciate the life. And we just appreciate the fragility of it in many different ways, and that is one of them.
It's unfortunate that you guys are the ones who you're having to keep people alive. And I have a buddy, one of my childhood best friends is a fireman, and he's always reading the obituaries because he does life flight as well. So when he has to get called in for that, the chances that that person's going to make it are very slim. And the only way he finds out is he reads the paper every day, or he checks on his phone to see if that person made it, because he remembers their name.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do you? It's not like taking a stage, because I got to wrap this up, but it's not like we talked about this. We take the stage, we have these great moments. We don't want to look back and look at our mistakes too quickly. I'll study that show later. I want to take in the moment. We can talk about it. How do we make tonight better than last night? When we're on the road, we have these little powwows in the front of the bus, and we do this, and we talk about the night. How do we make it better? But you guys don't have that. You have to disconnect, literally disconnect from, I went in, I helped this person, doing what you do, and you got to go to the next one. Mm-hmm. Is that hard? Is that like is it hard not to bring it home?
There is a moment that you need to take for yourself to kind of disconnect from it. But I think as he was saying earlier, and people do it differently. He comes home and he has a certain thing that he likes to do, because we only live 15 minutes away, so it's a short drive. So some people drive, and that is their disconnect. A lot of our other attendings have a further drive. I come home and I have to kind of tell him. That is my way of disconnecting, is telling him everything that I went through and how I did it and how I went through it. I think it puts in perspective for me and see, like, hey, could I have done this better? So we run, like you said, we run through it with each other to check it. Like, hey, how would you have done this? Like, hey, I had to do this, and this, and I don't like how it turned out. What would you have done differently? And I think that's my way of coping, and my way of getting over it is, okay, well, let's kind of down now. But that's a different.
And I think, and everybody's got these same kind of ways of like coming home from work and having their stresses and kind of like being like, oh, this person, that I work with, gives me this issue and whatever. So we have all that kind of stuff as well. But then we also have the without going into detail about our patients, because that would be bad. We'll say like we had this specific patient that was kind of going through this and that, and when this is how we dealt with it. And it's, we just have a few more things to talk about when it comes to. But yeah, we all have like ways of blowing off stress. Some of us work out in the gym to blow off stress.
That's me. Yep.
And now I'm finding myself becoming like more like Mr. Miyagi, because now I'm like doing like bonsai trees and stuff.
I love it. I love it.
Just like I can just kind of sit there and focus and like just kind of do some creating like in a nice sort of peaceful way, and that kind of brings me like some peace. So yeah,
I love it.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, I'm gonna have to wrap this up, but before we go, is there anything that you would like to leave with the listeners out there that comes to mind? You've been sitting in the next room. You've been watching us sitting here talking about this for 2 episodes now. Is there anything that you would like to leave? Any piece of advice to anybody out there that comes to mind?
I think that in everything in life that you do, it's important to have perspective. I think perspective is one of the most important things. And I was actually telling them this morning too. Perspective is one of the most important things you can have in life. If you want to do something, go talk to somebody who's done it. Go see something through somebody else's eyes and try to feel their emotions and not just, your own. That's the biggest difference.
You shared that with me today too.
There you go.
Yeah, you did.
See?
You did. And Toryn?
I would say that if everyone who's listening right now has like a certain passion, something that really drives them. I mean, that's kind of why I got, this tattoo, right? The passion tattoo, is that you need to make sure you're always listening to that inner voice, and make sure that like you don't ever let anything kind of get in your way. But don't be afraid to like veer in a different direction if you feel like, no matter like how much time you've spent in any one trek, you can always go a different direction and find a new harmony, a new peace, a new way to help people, some way that you may have never even expected before. So just don't be afraid to make the change.
I love that. I love that. Austin, you want to drop a little 27-year-old knowledge on anyone?
Don't let anybody else's perspective of you define you. You are your own individual. I've struggled with that a lot, but I would also like to shout out to my brothers and sisters still in. Pastrana, Tafoya, Burns, everybody else I'm not mentioning. Keep up the fight.
Love it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I want to thank you, Austin, Toryn, Carolina. Thank you guys for stepping in. And for Chase, my producer, is back. Dude, wow.
I'm glad to be back, brother.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, feels good.
Thank you. So we got to wrap this up, but I love you, dude. I love you guys. Thank you. I love that you brought your family here. This is amazing. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
This is so cool. Seriously, you're going to make a difference. And There it went again. No, I'm not even kidding. I'm wearing a jacket and the hair standing up my arms.
Thanks for
It's-
letting us be a part, B.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you have fun?
special.
Did you have fun today?
It's such a great
Blast.
time to be here and like
Yeah.
be able
Good.
to talk with you and like be able to catch up and
Yeah.
you know even like mom is like back in Michigan right now going where's Bryan?
Yeah, well, she's going to get to sit and watch this. Hi, Mom. And I need some of those no-bake cookies, but I've dropped some pounds, so I'll eat them in small little spurts.
Speaking of change, our buddy B is going through a big change. Right
Yeah,
now,
I am.
and
Well,
we're all here for you, man.
Thank you, man. I love you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So this is a Hero's Journey podcast. I want to thank you again, Toryn, Austin, Carolina. Thank you. Thanks, Chase. S&P Inc., JPS Computers, and 1-844 Ride or Die Legal. Reach out to them if you're in an accident, you need some help. These are my sponsors. I want to thank everyone. I want to thank Sticky Paws Studios. I love this. Thanks for giving me this opportunity to share and inspire. And to my son, who I know watches every episode, he's dropped 103 pounds. He's ran 2 marathons. He's in jiu-jitsu. He's killing it. His life changed. And if I only created this podcast just to speak to you, I love you. Thank you. It's perfect. That's all I needed. And I'd speak to him through my friends that are inspiring like you guys. All right. I'll see you guys. Thanks again.
And I believe it's coming around to me.